Hi everyone, welcome back to Our Hollywood. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kim.
It's really early today,
Yeah, we already recorded
the episode.
the meat of the episode. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear it, honestly.
It was so much
This
fun.
episode is exploring modern female directors, and we talk about
Everyone.
literally pretty much everybody.
And it was good vibes only.
Yeah, it was. Well, I was not going to tear down female directors.
No, but I'm saying
yeah.
Sometimes even if we're trying to be positive, there's but also all the sad stuff. But I think we stayed on the track.
But also there wasn't really much to critique about these modern female directors, to be honest. There really wasn't. I think it was just a very uplifting environment.
We went the entire. Well, first of all, Kim's wearing a shirt that says "Girls Rock." And you can see that if you go on our YouTube channel, Our Hollywood. We're uploading all the episodes on there. So if you're a visual media person,
I'm very much a person that likes to watch podcasts.
We also don't make money from the YouTube one, so we make 2 cents from the video one.
I don't know that.
I mean, it's because we can't monetize the YouTube videos yet. Anyway, so you can go do that. You can follow us on Instagram. It's our.hollywood. You can follow us on Letterboxd. It's Our Hollywood. We'll have all these movies on a little play or watch list, I think it's called. And then our TikTok is Our Hollywood. Period. There's all the photos. Are you good? The cold brew is running out.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, I'm not.
I was just letting you have your space to speak.
Thank you so much for.
I'm working on that.
We're gonna do what we watched this week. Also fun fact right now, I'm literally in class. It's on my phone, but so I was I don't have the thing in front of me.
When's your graduation ceremony?
May 22nd.
Oh well, it's late.
Online. Well, it's weird because it's May 22nd online, and May 26th is this drive-through thing at the school.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm going to my drive-through thing, even though I graduated last year, just so if it's bad, I can say that I went and be yeah, it was trash. Is that bad?
No.
But it's also I have nothing else to do. I might as well just fucking sit there and see what they have to offer.
Is it in a car?
Yeah, it's a drive-in graduate. They didn't not explain.
Yeah, no, same with us. They were just you'll drive to the school and you will see events. And I was girl, what are you talking about?
That is so vague.
Yeah, I literally don't understand what it is. And so we're driving all the way to
But also I know it means something to my mom, so I just
Same, my parents were are you really just going to do it through Zoom? And so I was okay, I guess we'll do the car one.
Because it's why not, Yeah,
I'm not losing anything.
Exactly.
And I get to go to LA. I'm literally going to force my family to go to Amoeba.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. Because that's your personality trait when you go to LA.
Okay, Kim.
Because if I do, what do? I go up there to thrift or whatever I do. You go up there and you absolutely go to Amoeba. There's the one thing you always do.
One time Kim was okay, we're going to go to Amoeba. This was 4 years ago, or 3 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. But Kim was okay, we're going to go to Amoeba. I was I don't know what that is.
I started this?
You don't remember?
No.
You literally showed me Amoeba because I remember the sticker on your car and I was I literally don't know what that is. And you're okay, we're going to go because you wanted to get a movie or something.
Oh yeah, their movie selection slaps.
And we went.
And it's affordable.
Yeah, we went to the old location on Sunset. And it blew my mind. I was this is my favorite.
Oh, I do remember this now.
Yeah. And then I went, I wanted to go to the grand opening, but I was okay, what if I get COVID? So I won't go. And then even though I'm vaccinated, and then, so we went a couple weeks later and there's still a line to get in, but the new location is so cool.
That's fun.
Anyway, so the little pop culture roundup, it's also kind of a mixed in with what we watched this week. So if you're in YouTube land, I
am deeply in YouTube land.
Yeah. So
I think I watch YouTube more than streaming services. For me,
I think right now, yes, too, because it's quick and fast. I can, I can digest it quickly. I'm oh, I have a lunch break. I can watch it, and then I'm not gonna watch Nomadland on my.
I feel I do that, but then also sometimes I'll be watching videos that are over an hour long, and I'm I literally could have watched a movie.
Oh my god, me with podcasts. I'm this is the length of Endgame.
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Our podcast. Anyways. Jeff Wittick.
Okay, so
came out with a documentary about what happened to his eye.
Wait, did you watch all the most
3?
Recent one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I watch them as soon as they come out. I have his notifications on. I'm so invested in the story.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. Okay, first we're gonna talk about the production because that's what we are. This is a film podcast. So I will say it has some Shane Dawson documentary vibes, whereas they think just
I'm sure the blueprint for YouTuber documentaries.
That should not be the blueprint, I think, because I think at times it had vibes of just because it's good editing and there's a voiceover, it's a documentary.
And music.
Yeah, and I'm guys, that's not really.
It's still interesting though.
Well, like for example, like the first episode, like really interesting to see Jeff's backstory. But like, you can skip it, I think.
Well, maybe that's just the way because he's the one that makes all of it. So that's maybe just the way he is perceiving.
So that's my counter argument to myself is that like
you play devil's advocate for yourself. I literally like internal monologue.
Okay, in my head it's Inside Out people, but it's just me wearing different t-shirts that are different colors. So I was like, okay, but also it's like his traumatic event. So like good for him to be able to tell a story the way he wants with his own money.
As he should, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that aside, David Dobrik terrifies me.
Yeah, no, I feel like everybody is on that because listen, like because David, everybody has like these interviews, right, about recounting what happened, right? The way he's retelling this story is maniacal. Like it is weird, and like in comparison, you see Susie, right, one of the sister, and she was on screen for like maybe like 2 minutes, and she was crying
because this event is terrifying.
And I wanted to pay for the Patreon, but I don't think I could stomach like watching it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm glad that he did that though. He's like, subscribe to my Patreon for the
dude. Yeah, if he's gonna monetize his trauma, he should.
Yeah,
you know.
But like, okay, so I was gonna like really quickly summarize it because I feel like not everyone is in YouTube land like us. So like really quickly, there's a YouTuber named David Dobrik. His vlogs are like really like kind of what's that one movie? Jackass like comedy where it's like he puts his friends in dangerous situations.
It's Jackass, but they have no safety measures.
No one's in charge. There's no HR department. And so like he would always put his friends in horrible, embarrassing, dangerous, like humiliating situations. Not once did it happen to him. He was the one doing little meet and greets with Leonardo DiCaprio. He was the one doing all this stuff, and it upset me. Like, you can literally go to my YouTube channel. There's a video we did like 2 years or 3 years ago where it was like painting our biggest fears, and mine was David Dobrik because I used to have nightmares about him. I used to have nightmares of him, him like tying me on the ground and like dumping cockroaches on me.
That was your nightmare?
I had this. It was a recurring nightmare because of the Emma Chamberlain
maybe
video.
You're like a psychic or something.
I definitely don't think so. Because also like, no, maybe I am because this also happened to me with the Gabby Hanna thing. Like at first I was a big fan and then I was like, no, something's unhinged.
I was making a joke because you were saying like, I manifested this.
Oh, I am. Okay, then I am.
Okay, you can, yeah.
Anyway.
If you feel that way, then yeah.
That was the nicest way to tell me no, you're not. Okay, anyway. Well, I think everyone's low-key a psychic. Anyway, so
yeah, I think you can anticipate things, you know?
Yeah, you could. Okay, yeah, it was not like I predicted something. You could watch those videos and be like, this is a harmful person.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So I think it's just hard to like do with it when everybody is was so pro David Dobrik, and then you're like the only person. Like what Trisha Paytas had to like go through is like, she's like, I literally saw this shit firsthand, and everyone's like, you're crazy.
And then she was like, people were calling me psychic, but she was like, no, anyone could have seen it. You guys were just like not paying attention to it. Mm-hmm. Everyone was so up his.
She's the one that opened my eyes, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because I could tell like, well, there was like people here and there, like even Carly and Aaron, like they would be like, don't do that to me, or like Scott's ex-girlfriend Kristen, like I remember
she got out of there quick.
Well, I remember he never pulled any pranks on her because she was like, don't you fucking dare. I remember her saying that in a vlog one time, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen to me either.
The thing is like, okay, for me, pranks like, oh, you scare me, you jump out of the closet.
Fine, yeah, that's whatever.
Different. If you like,
you're swinging me around on an excavator,
and also like emotionally manipulate to like my hopes and dreams, and then shatter them for a 4-minute video, you're a psychopath. Okay, anyway, so like in this video, what happened was they were doing a comeback video because David Dobrik hadn't vlogged the entire.
That was in July.
Yeah, so like he was gonna do a comeback vlog, and he was gonna have all these stunts. And so like in the second part of the documentary, there's this scene where like they wanted to get their skydiving license, so they have to jump 25 times. And so like they're doing these 25 jumps. It's like Jeff, Natalie, Todd, and they have to film their wills, and they FaceTime David. And David is like at home playing video games because like he would Twitch, and that's like how he would make income. And he was like, yeah, I want to go, but I just don't know if that's the best idea right now. And that's when I was like, he sees his friends' lives as expendable and his isn't.
Yeah.
That's literally how he sees it. He's like, well, if I lose one of them, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. But like, what kind of sick human being do you have to be to think like that?
Yeah.
I just cannot imagine. Like, I'd be like, well, if I'm going to make my friends jump out of an airplane, I'm going to do it too. And also, I can't believe they all just let him do this to them. I think.
Well, you have to think, like, I'm sure it's like a weird power dynamic that I don't think they're even aware of. You know what I mean? Because I think the way they think about it, I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm just saying this is what I'm perceiving it as, is like, they feel like they owe it to him because without him, they would not be any, like, in their head. Maybe they would. We don't know, because that's not the path they decided to choose. But in their head, they think they owe everything to him because they think they wouldn't have been as famous without him.
But not only that, he would gift them, like, for example, Carly and Aaron.
It's just such a it's like a weird power dynamic. Like, you're like emotionally manipulating, but you're giving me a Lamborghini the next day. So it's like
he paid for her wedding, so like, okay, I guess I have to jump out of a plane because I can't say no because you gifted me.
Well, no, that's Aaron.
Aaron, sorry.
I don't think they participated.
No, they didn't. I didn't see them in any clips of the documentary. But anyway, it was just weird. Anyway, so then they were doing this thing where, like, David had an excavator, and I don't know how he got this, and he was like, basically
in the thing they said that it was all handled by another YouTuber, like how they got all this stuff. So they didn't do it legally.
You can tell.
Yeah.
But oh my god! And so basically, they were all swinging around on it, and like they were like, "Let's take it one step further," and they start doing like swinging around on it and like spinning, but like just from the rope. And so like first Corinna did it, and then like it like almost falls, and then she's like, "Okay, no, we're done." Like she literally says, "You always take it too far," and like I think that sign should have shown that how unsafe this was.
She always says that in his vlogs.
And like David kept it going, and so like I don't understand how maniacal he is. Like, he literally was like controlling it with one hand and filming with the other. Like, sir, get a camera person. What's wrong with you? But then also, so then he starts spinning Jeff around, and Jeff, like, you can tell from like, okay, you know what? I recant what I said earlier. I do think the first one was important to show Jeff's mentality because he's very like loyal.
Well, he was a criminal, and like I think it was like important to explain why he didn't like snitch. I feel like this whole thing is like he doesn't want to like snitch on people because that's when he was a criminal, you don't do that shit. And that's why he got put behind bars because he didn't. And
so I think
he has immense loyalty.
David used that to his advantage 100%. He's an expert manipulator. And so basically what happens is the thing they explain later that like that was on Frenemies. They explained that like how when that thing is moving at a certain speed, it realizes that it shouldn't be moving that quickly. So there's like an automatic stop. And so what happened was it was moving too fast. And so it stopped and Jeff swung and hit.
Well, because it's not for fucking use like that. It's literally a construction vehicle.
And so he hits it and like, he like shatters his skull. His eye comes out. He falls into the water. Like all this, like super, like he should have died essentially.
He was so close to dying.
And so, like, there's all that. But
I think I hate being like, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why he survived.
Yeah. Well, someone had to take him down.
Yeah.
And also the girlie who, like, no, sorry, not the girlie. Sometimes I say things that like, I don't think it through. The girl who, like, was sexually assaulted because of a vlog that they were doing. And she also was like, no, we're not going to do this. And so, like, the article came out. And that also, I think, led to his quote-unquote downfall. And I'm glad that all this is coming out because he was getting really too dangerous. And like clearly he almost killed someone. He like traumatized who knows how many people. But like I think what scared me the most was when Jeff was like, he never came to visit me. And he never like I had to see his face everywhere.
He didn't speak to him for like a month. Like he did like the Joker thing in the hospital and then didn't speak to him.
I cannot grapple that.
That shit. That is so shitty. Like I can't even like explain how shitty that is. Like if you don't think that's shitty, you need to reevaluate what you think. And
the way that Jeff was still like not upset, I would have been
furious. Okay, you know what I think? Because like of this, I mean you're listening to the podcast. Well, he's releasing all this documentary. Jeff is a smart guy. He is fucking
Jeff
smart.
Is a marketing
I don't think he needs to explicitly drag David. He literally is just showing the reality of the situation. And he doesn't even, because people are like, why isn't Jeff like dragging him? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he doesn't need to. He doesn't fucking need to. Because that kind of like, that leaves people room to like criticize him for talking shit on David in like a really weird fucked up way. I don't know how to explain it, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I think Jeff is like, we're just going to tell the story how it is. And people are going to see the reality situation. Because I'm sure this was like an enlightening experience for him, because it fucked up his brain. And he said he has had like he hasn't gone into depth on his mental issues and his recovery and stuff. Like, I don't know if he's going to, but
it seems like he doesn't want to talk about it, but he touches upon it.
Yeah. So like, I think this whole, and I think he said like this process has like helped him like kind of come to terms like with what's going on. And I think he's smart, and he has smart people around him now to be like, you don't even need to like explain how shitty David is. Like, it's literally just evident in like all the stuff that we have.
Yeah, I definitely think this is the nail in the coffin for
David.
And so I think like
if companies work with him after this, that is just low.
Well, okay, you know what? Also, I thought it was interesting that like when I didn't expect to get interviews from David and everything, I was like, so what did he? Because I don't think. Do you think he told David?
I don't think he told him anything. I think David is so out of his mind and like control freaked, you know, because everybody just does what he tells them to do. I just don't think it ever crossed his mind genuinely that Jeff would. But it's like he didn't even need to like pin it on David. David literally did everything. And the fact that David, like, I mean, to be fair, we haven't seen like all of the documentary yet.
I think there's like 2 more, right?
I don't know. But from like what we've seen, like, it seems like he has no remorse. And that is the biggest thing I hate with like social media people. There's no way you don't know about things that people are accusing you of. Yeah. There's absolutely zero way. If I know, you definitely have to know, because it's about you, bitch. And he would never fucking address anything. And I was like, I can't like a person that doesn't address anything about them.
Too sketchy.
It's too sus, bro. And it's just so evident that he's never been held accountable for anything he's done wrong. And that is, yeah. And that's just like a huge thing. You need to hold people accountable. But also like when the SA allegations came out, and he did his first apology, lame, terrible. No, it was so awful.
I truly think he doesn't have emotions, because like, what is that called? Like sociopath? Or like, I don't want to throw that word around like David Dobrik, but like genuinely the signs are there.
Yeah.
This was a cult. Like, you literally, all the signs of a cult are here. It's just a more televised one, and no one really thought.
And I think also at that point he had a lot of business people around him, so I think he genuinely didn't know what to do, because it's the first time he's actually had to address anything. So like he genuinely didn't know how to apologize. That's insane to me that he didn't know how to apologize. And then like a week or a week and a half later, he had the second apology, which seemed a little bit better on the surface level, but it just seems so evident that it was kind of like written out for him.
Yeah.
You know?
Even when he was like I'm on the ground. Like
what Trisha said on like Friend Me, she was like, you can't make that big of a jump from a week ago. Like, you can have the gears turning, but you can't act like you're a brand new person.
It's the same with like what James Charles is.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Oh my God. Influencers are so weird. I don't understand.
That's why I'm a very micro influencer, but like I'm seeing like glimpses of what's going on and like how important it is to be like a good role model in person on the internet, because ultimately celebrities are still a big deal, and you know what I mean? But like, there's social media people on the cover of J14 magazine. Like, these are people that you need to be paying attention to. Honestly, as I hate to admit it, but like, it's important what these.
I wonder what's gonna happen, because like, for example, with like Vine and all of these things, like they're huge for like a hot second and then they completely disappear. I wonder if that's gonna happen with
with Vine, like they didn't do anything new.
No, but also like YouTube, like they're OG YouTubers.
Oh yeah.
Like they were huge, and then they're just kind of like.
Well, that's kind of like Celebrity Cycle too.
I guess that's a good point.
I think Celebrity Cycle is just like more magnified, and also like with celebrities and actors and like musicians and stuff, they have like things that they're set to do.
I was like, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like when you think about TikTokers, what is the longevity of a TikToker? When you think of like a Charli D'Amelio or like Addison Rae, like now like Addison Rae just released like music and she's going to like beauty and stuff, and it's just like
the movie.
Yeah, in the movie, and she's like trying to bounce into this world of being an actual celebrity. And it's like, I want to do a whole episode about that. Like, when does a social media person become a celebrity.
I think she knows that like this doesn't have length.
Addison Rae is 100% celebrity, and I don't hate to admit it. I really don't, because it doesn't bother me. But a lot of people have strong opinions about that. You know what I mean?
I understand why they have strong opinions though, because it's just another white person. Yeah. That doesn't really, there are a lot of
quote unquote, they don't do anything. Quote unquote. That's what people's argument is. But I don't know. It's a stupid thing.
Like, I have no thoughts on her. I'm not going to defend her because I don't think.
I just think it's like.
It's there.
I mean, it's like undeniable. She's a celebrity. She's getting all these deals. She's on the Kardashians. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of like the transition, because I feel like a lot of times it flops. But I think Addison Rae, like, maybe because TikTok, like these TikTokers, because they don't really talk, they literally just dance, you know what I mean? They can make whatever personality they want to. Yeah. It's such an interesting thing, and like my marketing brain goes like crazy thinking about it. But I'm so interested.
And it is a part of Hollywood, so if we did an episode on it, it does fall into our jurisdiction.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe we will. That's interesting.
I mean, I've been wanting to put it on the document. I just
Addison, if you want to come on it and talk about.
She's a Libra too.
So will she?
Has nothing to do with anything.
She would absolutely not. What influencer could we like get on here?
Give me like a couple more months on TikTok and I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
I don't know. I think just social media people in general is just so interesting, and I feel like a lot of times, like with David Dobrik and like James Charles, they've been able to get away with a lot of things. You know what I mean? But I think now people are like, okay, no, it's time. It's time to let's cut it out and let's keep people accountable and start deplatforming people. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I love deplatforming. I think it needs to happen with so many more people. Because I just think before it was so unregulated. They're like, well, everyone should have one. But when it comes to a certain point, oh my God, we're going so off the rails. It comes to a certain point where it's like they're now a public figure. They're influencing like public opinion, and like they're being harmful, and they're genuinely harmful to people. I think that's the point where you're like,
I think it's just crazy that David Dobrik went on for years getting away with this shit. Yeah. Like, I think also like a lot of people had like similar thoughts, but nobody wanted to say anything.
Yeah. I was like because I had a friend who was like David Dobrik stan, like merch, like with merch. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I'm like scared of him. Is no one else afraid of him?
Yeah.
Like I would have
nobody talked about it.
I had nightmares about him. I don't think you understand. That's like he did something to my brain and I don't even know him.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Anyway, so that was our pop culture roundup. We're gonna go to the ad break right now, and then we'll be back with our guest and to talk all about girl bosses. We went the entire episode without saying it, and I feel like we have to say it like once.
No.
I feel like we should make merch that says girl boss.
No.
With like a cute little font.
No. Oh my God, ad break, bye. Hi, welcome back from our ad break. Hopefully it got put in the right place this time, because I was listening to her podcast and it was like in the middle of us talking and I was like, wait, what?
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know. It's okay. Well, hopefully it worked this time. I don't know. But we're back and now we have our guest, Naja.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing today?
It's so hot. It's really hot over here.
This is the earliest we've ever recorded.
Oh, yeah, that
podcast. Too. I feel like kind of awake, so I haven't done anything yet today.
Oh, yeah, no, this cold brew, it's kicking in.
Okay.
And so I'm ready. I'm ready to record. So before we get into our topic, which today is, do we have like a specific title, or is it just, modern female directors?
Yeah.
Before we get into it, do you want to tell us a little bit about what interests you about film and TV and sort of why you want to go into the film industry?
Yeah, so I've been interested in doing film since I was 13. I think, or 12 or 13. That's when I made my first film. We have these like no smoking, those no smoking commercials. I tried to do the little 30-second commercial. They had a competition going on. It was terrible. You can find it on YouTube somewhere, but don't. And then when I was 15, I went to a performing arts high school. And I just started taking it seriously from there and producing and directing films. What has always made me so interested in filmmaking is that I love imagining and I love dreaming. So to take something that you just imagine in your head and you're just daydreaming all the time and see it just unfold right in front of your face in real life. It's amazing to me. I love that. And I'm also a big sim player. So, you know, creating your own reality. I'm all for that.
Yeah. So what is there any like specific aspect that you want to sort of focus more on, or you want to do it all?
So I would like to kind of dibble and dabble in different types of films. I always like films with a little bit of drama within them. And I think I take that inspiration a lot from like Issa Rae. No matter what genre I'm doing, that drama is it's so exciting to me. But I want to dibble and dabble and try all different types of like drom-coms. Those are my favorites.
But yeah, I love
romantic movies and add a little bit of drama into them. I just love for my films to be, you know, relatable or have some type of element of a world that you just wish you could live in. So,
wow, how fun! So do you like writing, or do you like directing, or which ones have you tried, and which ones do you think, you know, I can focus on this one more?
My aspiration is to be a producer and director within the film industry. I've done it all. You know, as like a freelance filmmaker, you have to write your own films. You have to be the cameraman. You have to do all of that. But I'm definitely interested in producing, directing, and writing 100%. And I am currently trying to build my own film company. So I've got like a 5 to 10 year plan going on, because I really just want to be able to create a platform where not just, you know, where Black creatives and other creatives can tell their stories that are different. So yeah, I kind of just want to help creatives get their stories out there. So
that's so cool. With that leads us perfectly into our topic for today, which is modern female directors. So we have a list of the female directors that have been very recent. I think what is like the oldest one on here? Not oldest by age. I mean, like in terms of
probably Catherine Bigelow. Movie? I don't know. Yeah, probably Catherine Bigelow.
Okay, yeah, because I mean Sofia Coppola kind of, but
I think Catherine Bigelow came before.
Oh, you're right. And also it's like half white, so you know we did sprinkle in.
I mean, just like overall, like female directors as a whole, like aren't as widespread as male directors. Obviously, I mean, there's only been before this year, like 5 women nominated for Best Director at the Oscars. So we have like, I'm very happy with like the people that we've had groundbreaking and like, you know, pushing through those boundaries, but we just have so much more to go.
Yeah.
But I think what I wanted to start with is like talking about Best Director, because that is like the biggest thing that's happened recently, with Chloé Zhao being the first woman of color to win Best Director, which is huge, and that's an amazing accomplishment. And there's only been one other Best Female Director before them, which was Catherine Bigelow. And the women that have been nominated for Best Director before, and I'm going to tell you guys the years because it just shows how like spread out it is. It's kind of insane. So Lena Wertmuller, 7 Beauties, 1976. Then we have Jane Campion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but that was The Piano in 1993. Sofia Coppola in 2003 for Lost in Translation. Catherine Bigelow in 2009 for The Hurt Locker, and that was the first year a woman had ever won in 2009. So it's insane. Not that long ago. It's like a little over 10 years ago, and that's not okay. Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird in 2017, and then Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman 2020, and Chloé Zhao for Nomadland in 2020. Yeah, that list should be a lot longer, because I was looking at Wikipedia to make sure I like had everybody on the like every woman, and I was just like scrolling through endless amounts of male names. And I mean, the first time a woman ever got nominated was only in 1976. and the Oscars have been going on for almost 100 years.
Yeah.
So that's just insane to me.
I think that really puts it in perspective when you look at how long the Oscars have been running, and this list of female directors is like a tiny little paragraph in our notes, which sucks. Obviously, there's like a 6-year gap in between like each of these more between the first ones, but
it is. They don't even break it down into race after that.
Yeah, then it's like
more problematic.
The only woman of color on that list is Chloé Zhao.
Yeah.
So it's insane. And then obviously the Oscars have been notorious for snubbing amazing directors like Ava DuVernay, and Ava DuVernay called out the Oscars one year for not including a Nigerian film because it was in English, even though English is the national language of Nigeria. Yeah. So I'm glad that we have people like Ava DuVernay speaking up for everybody, because I feel like sometimes, and we'll get into this a lot later, but like women feel like they can't speak out about things, and I think we're finally getting to that point where we're able to stick up for each other and like have those open conversations, which are so important. And who else got snubbed? What's her name? The woman who directed Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Celine.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I recently watched that movie a couple months ago, and I was just like, okay, wait, hold on. Why was this not nominated? Yeah. Why did she not get nominated? I'm pretty sure the movie was nominated, but
I'm actually embarrassed. I've never seen it. So.
I didn't. Okay, literally, I was like not on the hype train like when it was like at the time, and I was like thinking, I was just like on Hulu. It kept on popping up on my Hulu, and I was like, you know what? I got nothing else to do. Like, I might as well just watch it. And people have been telling me that I would probably like it. And it was just so impressive to me, especially the lighting. I pay attention a lot to the lighting because I think it adds a lot to the mood of a film. I'm a huge lighting fanatic, which is like super weird, but like, okay, I'm glad somebody feels me on that, because I feel like not enough people talk about it, you know?
No, yeah.
And I think especially because she decided to shoot on, oh my God, you know what? We're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm gonna save my little fan thing.
Well,
she shot on digital, but it like that's not normal for people that are doing a period piece. But I'll get into my little like spiel about her, because like I'm such a big fan now. She's so sick.
She's so cool.
So I think I want to also start with like why it's important for like women to be directors, and it goes beyond just directing. It goes to the behind the scenes aspect of it, and there has been multiple studies, and Time wrote about a study conducted about how if a woman is put in a director's chair, it's much more likely there's going to be more gender diversity within all behind the scenes roles, which is something that we talk about a lot on this podcast, but I feel like overall in like society, I guess, doesn't get as much recognition. Like it comes down to like the grips, and it comes down to the PAs, it comes down to everybody that's making this film. It matters that there's gender diversity in there. And I wanted to start off with this little quote from Kathryn Bigelow, because she's like the first director we're going to be talking about. So she said, because there was like a formal request to the ACLU to go look more into why this matters, and also about why it matters to hire female directors, and just looking into the film industry as a whole, and the disparity between like putting women into positions of power. And she said that she supported the request when it launched in the spring. I have always firmly believed that every director should be judged solely by their work and not by their work based on their gender. Hollywood is supposedly a community of forward-thinking and progressive people, yet this horrific situation for women directors persists. Gender discrimination stigmatizes our entire industry. Change is essential. Gender-neutral hiring is essential. Which that changed my opinion about Kathryn Bigelow, because I feel like before I think what she did in terms of like groundbreaking for like women directors is like huge, and we should obviously like recognize her for that. But I'm not a huge fan of like military movies and stuff like that. So like it wasn't like just my cup of tea. And also I think before she just never wanted to comment on being like a woman director. Like when she won her award, she didn't talk about being a woman, which like I think people just thought that was weird. And like I thought it was weird at first, but it's also like from that quote of her, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like why she wouldn't if she just wants everything to be like gender neutral, which we should be like pushing towards, but that's just not the place we're in. So I think that's why it kind of like threw people off. Yeah, it definitely threw me off.
Yeah, I get what she was trying to do. Like, for example, the male directors, they don't like are like, well, as a male. So I get what
some of them do though.
Honestly,
some of them do. They said that if they went on to grab their work as a male, I feel.
Did you see Quentin Tarantino's like little speech? He was like, "Yeah, because I'm the best." Like it's just like it's.
Wait, what?
I think for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for one of the awards, he was like, "Yeah, I did this," and it's like, yes, let's hype ourselves up, but like relax, like, but also like stay a little bit. There's a way you can like do that with being humble at the same time.
I do think he needs to be humbled a little bit.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about men today.
Sorry.
We're talking about women.
Like, one thing I've always appreciated about Catherine is that she has a way, like she said in that quote, and like you were saying, she has like a way of creating neutrality among women, especially the lead women characters that she puts in her film. Like in Blue Steel was Jamie Lee Curtis, who was the lead in that character as a cop. I believe it's the right film.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was just such a round character, being able to relate with male and female audience members. We weren't just like focusing on the fact that she was a woman, which I saw in an interview for Catherine. That was essentially her goal. So I really appreciate that. Like,
I appreciate that too, and especially that was like, because a lot of the movies that she does, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of them, it is huge because those movies are always male dominated and male focused. And there definitely is, when it comes to like military and action films, there's definitely a huge masculine aspect of it. And I think for her to come out guns blazing, like kind of literally, having these women kind of act in quote unquote masculine roles, and I think that was I like didn't think about it until I was like kind of looking into it, because I just kind of like see a military movie and I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's a military movie, but
yeah, you kind of know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, but when you're thinking on the context of her being a female director and putting like Jessica Chastain and Jamie Lee Curtis in these, again, like what you said, like round character roles, and something that super has been and still continues to be male dominated, as the film industry and military movies or action movies as a whole is huge, and that is something to commend. So yeah,
I think also like the fact that these movies, like you said, these are like the demographic for these movies is mostly men, and I think a lot of times when it's these type of movies, but they're directed by men, the female characters are sort of eye candy and they're treated as objects. So,
but now they're being forced to like identify with a woman.
Yeah. So for a female director to make movies, quote unquote, that are for men, now they're forced to look at these female characters as people, which like, wow, what a concept. So yeah, I think it's really cool that this is like her genre.
Yeah, I like that for her. You know, she was married to James Cameron. I just thought that was interesting. I did not know that. I Googled her and I saw that.
You know, that kind of, I had no idea, but I see it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I was about to say, you look like you're about to say that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm all for this era of women directors, and just like you were saying earlier, studies saying that, you know, there needs to be more women directors. I agree. Women are a minority. So when they're put in this position of power, 8-9 times out of 10, I guess depending who you're working with, but they're going to try to make it as equal and fair as possible. They're not just going to try to down anybody, you know? So, I mean, at least me.
So the next director we're going to be talking about is Sofia Coppola, who is one of my personal favorites. I think, so Sofia Coppola, along with other movies, her most famous ones. These are just the ones that I thought off the top of my head.
Okay.
Marie Antoinette, Virgin Suicides, and Lost in Translation. But the Bling Ring, I think, is like, that was my first introduction to her, and that was like quintessential.
I was just about to say that.
That was like quintessential for like, I feel like people our age.
Yeah.
No, really. I think, what was I like? That was like 10 years ago. So I was like 12 or 13, and I just remember being in the store. This was after the movie had came out, and I just picked up like a DVD from the DVD section. And I was like, I need to watch this. And then it's based on like true events. I'm like, iconic. So yeah, that was the first film of hers that I got introduced to. So
I think I like Sofia Coppola because she does like people who are lonely, but also like in a position of power in a way very well.
You're hitting on the note.
And that's why like she's one of my favorites, and that's like a theme in like every single one of her movies. It's someone who is lonely, but first like, and at first you're kind of confused why they're lonely and why they feel sad, because they seem to have everything like right in front of them at like the like right there in reach with them, but it show. And I think I commend her for that, because I mean she does come from a very wealthy family, and I kind of like, and I think she writes what she knows very well, I guess.
Someone check on Sophia. Is she okay?
I know, is she okay?
We're like, Sophia, are you good?
That's what I've always respected about her, that she doesn't try to be anything she's not. She takes her real life experiences growing up in the industry, and then she tells these stories about famous people, well-off people, through unsuspecting views and different perspectives. So I think that's really awesome of her. And I watching her films, honestly, you wouldn't even think of her, dare comparing to her to her father. They're like completely two different styles of directing films. So,
which I'm sure was like kind of really hard for her at the beginning, because I feel like when your father is Francis Ford Coppola, like there's a lot to live up to, and I really appreciate that she didn't try to lean into what her father did and leaned into things that were from her perspective and stuff that she did know and would able to tell like a great story. Which is why I love her so much.
I also
national treasure Sofia Coppola.
I also really appreciate her as a writer, I think, because when you watch the movie for the first time, you don't know much about the character, you don't know the arc, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, and then you watch it again and it's like it was there the whole time, but it's not like in your face. It's like very subtle things where like on each rewatch you'll catch more things where you're like, oh my god, you'll get more insight on the characters, which I love.
The fact that she's able to make Marie Antoinette, which is this big historical figure that we talk about, and is able to make it that like even teenage girls can identify with is really awesome, I think.
And I didn't expect the film to be the way it was.
No,
at
absolutely
all.
Not.
But when they opened with what's that song that they opened with? I wrote it down because I was like, I have to remember the song that they opened with. And
Isn't it I Want Candy?
Find it.
Isn't it I Want Candy?
No, it was watch. I'm gonna find it after, and I'm gonna be so mad. But I forget what song they opened with, but they opened with that like rock punk song, and I was like, I know what type of film this is about to be. This is not a regular. This is not your regular period piece. So yeah, she's awesome. Oh, it was Gang of Four. Natural's not in it.
It's not even on the soundtrack.
Really?
I'm just looking on Spotify though.
Oh, dang. But yeah, it was Gang of Four. Natural's not in it. That's what it opened with. I mean,
She has great music taste.
She does also, though.
She really does. And I really appreciate that in films as well. I feel like sometimes, like, as much as I do love, like, leaning into the artsy aspect of it, we do like modern songs.
We like a good time.
We like a good time, you know? And she does it really freaking well. I'm glad we're all Sofia Coppola fans.
Yeah.
Because I'm really happy.
I don't know if I was as much as a stan before, and then when I watched Somewhere, I was like, okay, I get it now. And then like I watched more and I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. The next director we're going to be talking about is Greta Gerwig. Woo, woo. I love that woman. I love her as well. I mean, before she was an actress, right? And she was an actress, and she, her biggest film, at least for me, is Frances Ha. And that was a great movie. And it's about a woman, like, it's like kind of like a coming of age movie, I think. Frances Ha is, in a way. And she was supposed to be in like a reboot of like How I Met Your Mother, How I Met Your Father, but then that ended up getting canceled. So she ended up starting directing and like working on Lady Bird.
I didn't even a reboot of
I mean, there is now with Hilary Duff.
Yeah,
like they're actually doing
Where have I been?
It just got announced last week. I don't know. No, it just got announced.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not out yet. So
okay. Wait, I'm so sorry. This is so off track. What is the reboot gonna be about? Like,
it's like all they said was like it's a sequel / reboot where it's called How I Met Your Father. So it's kind of like the same format where it's like this
same format, just a woman as Ted Mosby, essentially.
Oh, okay. I remember years ago they were talking about doing something like that, but I didn't think they were. No, like I'll watch it, but I didn't think they were gonna do it because years passed. So I was like, maybe it's not.
Yeah, it's really weird how that happens a lot. Like things will get stopped, and then years later, like the other one I think about all the time is 13 Reasons Why. That was supposed to be like a really long time ago, and Selena Gomez was supposed to be Hannah Baker, and then she ended up executive producing it later. So I think it's like interesting how those things happen. I'd like to do an episode on that. That'd be super fun. But I'm kind of glad that ended up getting canceled because we wouldn't have Lady Bird. And I feel like as much as it is kind of, I don't know, sad is the right word, but like it's just kind of a reality of mother and daughter relationships, and the amount of people that can relate to this story is insane. Because it's not something that's like super explored. No. I mean, I like mother-daughter relationships in general are kind of complicated, but seeing one as truthful as the one in Lady Bird, I think is huge. And yes, I won't. You know what? It deserves the hype, I think. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people just like to hate on things because they're popular. But when I first watched that movie, I literally was like, I'm transcending. I was like, this is it. And it like watching movies, and Lady Bird was one of those movies that I watched that reminded me why I want to be a director and be a producer. Because a lot of times when we're watching movies that are just, you watch it and you're like, oh my God, that was great. And then you see directed by, and it's a male name. It's just kind of like, oh, can I watch something?
I'm writing this in my notes because shamefully I have not seen Lady Bird either. So I'm just taking this all in. I'm like, is that amazing? It reminds me.
Yeah. I just also like, I love movies that are about normal people. And I feel like Hollywood loves to glamorize things, and everything is like so extravagant, which I also love. I won't sit here. I literally was sitting here last week talking about movie musicals. Like, I love that shit too. But I also love being grounded in a way.
Yeah, it's like Nomadland. It's so fun to watch people that are like
just regular,
everyday people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much more relatable.
And like the end, like this is one of my favorite endings to a film ever because it's so honest, and I don't think I've watched that ending not crying.
The first time I saw it, it was like
it was my first year of college.
Me too. Me too. And so I was already not okay mentally.
Yeah.
And so the ending, well, I won't spoil it for you because I think you need to watch it. But like, I remember watching the ending and it like ends, and I was like,
it's not like an extravagant ending. It's just like a, damn, maybe I should call my mom type of ending. You know?
Oh no! Look. Y'all are gonna make me cry watching this movie.
No, you probably will, and it's okay. Because sometimes I think we need to be reminded, like, even though, like, we don't agree with our moms all the time, like,
me tearing up, literally thinking about it.
It's such a good movie, guys, it really does deserve all of the love that it gets, and I think it's one of those movies that are, I mean, it already is a classic in my mind.
I think so.
It's a classic for sure. And the fact that was her directorial debut, like just made me so excited to see what she has next. And then
also, I love like offbeat movies. I love offbeat movies. And so I remember when I first started watching it, and she like, it's like in one of the first 10 minutes, I think, and she jumps out of the car. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good time.
Right? Yeah. I was like, I already love this movie.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
It's literally within the first like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Also, Timothée Chalamet is in it for you. Timothy Stands.
The Stands, yes.
I'm sure that'll get a couple people.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't hate him.
I feel like he's a very honest portrayal of how a lot of boys are.
Yeah. Oh, in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you talking about Timothée Chalamet in general?
Wait, I don't know. Do you mean in general or?
I mean in general.
I like him. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him. I'm just comparing it to like my friends who are like Timothée Chalamet fucking stands.
Okay,
and I'm like, I'm not that level, so I'm like, yeah, I like him. If he's in a movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch it.
They're like, oh, Timothy.
Yeah.
Like that. Whereas they will literally
they're like foaming at the mouth like,
behind him.
Yeah. I think he's very talented. And handsome, obviously. I'm not blind. He's really attractive. But which leads me to her next film, which is Little Women, which is crazy, kind of like when you think about the jump between her first movie and her second movie. But also they have a lot of similar themes.
The cast.
And also the same cast. Yeah. Just Saoirse.
Yeah. And Timothy.
Oh yeah, for me forgetting. Sometimes I try to block Timothy out of my head because I just feel like we get so much content about him.
He's everywhere.
He's literally everywhere.
He's on SNL every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, good for him, and he very much deserves it. But like, anyways, back to Greta.
Sorry.
Little Women, and this was the first Little Women like adaptation I had ever watched. I didn't watch the other ones, so when I watched this, I was like, Lord. I was like, did you know the story beforehand? Like, did you ever have to read it? No, I never had to read it either. I kind of just went in blind, to be honest. Like, I just kind of was like, oh, it's about sisters in the 1800s.
I mean,
all right, let's watch it.
That's not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like, literally the most plain way you can explain it is about sisters in the 1800s. And I just think I love the way she writes her female leads, because I feel like a lot of times female leads are written very soft and demure, and they have to like come into their own, you know what I mean? Like, and I appreciate that as well, because I appreciate both ways, but I like how Greta does it. Like, her main characters are like coming out of the gate swinging. Yeah. So like they are literally like, here's my opinion in the first like 2 minutes of the movie, and this is how I am, and this is how I am gonna be, which is, I was TikTok popped up on my For You page the other day, and it was like directors and their zodiac signs and their themes of their movies. And Miss Greta Gerwig is definitely a fucking Leo. That is all I gotta say. She is most definitely a goddamn Leo, and it shows. And because Leos are very unapologetically themselves, but at the underneath the surface, they're trying to satisfy a lot of different types of needs, and trying to find themselves truly.
Are you a Leo? You're going hard for Leo.
No, I'm a Libra, but like I have a lot of friends that are Leos. Are you a Libra too?
I'm a Libra. When's your birthday? So off track.
September 23rd.
Mine is the 29th.
What? We're so close. I'm glad we're both September Libras.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there is a difference, 100%.
What's the other month?
October.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about.
I was like, other month of what?
like, because, okay.
Yeah, so it goes Leo, Libra, then Scorpio. Yeah. Scorpios are like October, like beginning of November, I think. Anyways, we're getting off track. But Miss Greta Gerwig is definitely a fucking Leo. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Have you watched Little Women?
No, and now I'm just feeling so embarrassed. I haven't watched it.
You are so fine. I feel like it was like oversaturated. I feel like both movies kind of got oversaturated because there was a lot of hype.
I always meant to watch Little Women. It just never happened. So
it's so long. So I really like whenever I see a runtime over like 2 hours, I'm like,
I used
to. Okay, I need to clear some mental space.
Yeah.
I feel like the start is just gonna be so slow, but you're saying, I don't know, like her movies like just come out the gate swinging. So
I think she has a really good way of introducing characters.
Yeah, I think it in terms of story, it is a little bit slow, but it's okay because the characters are written so well.
You're kind of invested in them too.
You like immediately you like them, and she writes each character so differently, and also the acting is incredible. Like it's just so fun to watch all these actresses like interact with each other, because like I've never seen like Emma Watson and Florence Pugh in a movie together.
Yeah.
And so it was like a lot of fun to see sort of the different characters, because also I didn't know anything about Little Women at all. I never read the book. I never seen the other movies.
I have watched the other adaptations after this, and this is my favorite for sure.
I think it's the most modern one that like, I just think it's the best, the most well made.
Because I think we've talked about it in another podcast, but I think why I like film adaptations, and I think Little Women does deserve multiple adaptations, because every adaptation is very, and I feel like this is a lot about movies in general, especially like things that are period pieces. They there's a lot of underlying storylines, and there's a lot that you can highlight, and you only have so much time to highlight different ones, you know what I mean? But I think this Little Women that Greta Gerwig did a really good job of highlighting like women taking charge of their own life, where for the other adaptations kind of didn't as much.
Okay, that's a good point. It felt like the other ones, it was like the characters moving through the story, whereas this one I felt like the characters were advancing the story.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
Well,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Like the movie, the action that the characters are doing are what moves the story along, where in the other ones it's kind of just happening.
Because as much as I love the Lori plotline, that wasn't the most interesting one. And I love it when movies do that the most interesting plotline is not the love interest story, which is important. I do love a good romance. I will not sit here and lie to you, but like I care a lot more about the personal development of a character, and especially when it's a female character. But I also just shows that like it's important to have female writers writing scripts about women.
Yeah.
Because this is what we're gonna get, a female forward film.
Yeah.
And I like you, Greta Gerwig. I'm looking more forward to more diversity in your films.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Is there something she's...
I don't know what her next thing is.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she has one. I feel like I feel like her vibe is definitely like taking it slow and like finding the right film. I love her. I love her so much.
Okay, so next up we have...
give her Peace a try. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think
definitely let us know what you think.
Yes, please, because I think she. Well, okay, that was enough about Greta Gerwig. Sorry, I don't want to keep going on. Yeah, because we have a lot to talk about. So never mind.
The next person is Jennifer Lee, which is kind of different because she is more in the animation world, but I still think it's important, especially when you consider Disney as a very much grounding factor for a lot of children. So she co-directed Frozen and Frozen 2 with Chris Buck. And after John Lasseter left, as he should have, she was promoted to CCO, which is Chief Creative Officer. So she makes kind of all the decisions on the films that they are putting out. And that was in 2018. So I think this is important to talk about in the concepts of Disney, because we're going to see a lot more female forward storylines, which Frozen already proved to us that she's really good at. Yeah. And the films that came out, I think the ones that I remember that have come out under her so far is Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Raya and The Last Dragon, which are both fantastic.
Wreck-It Ralph 2
it's so good.
So good. I think it's like the only animated movie I have on DVD, and I got the Steelbook because I was I love this movie.
Yeah, no, I think she produced Wreck-It. Was she a producer or?
Yeah, she was. She
like writer on Wreck-It Ralph too. I can't remember.
She was a writer for Disney at first, and then she was just kind of like a co-writer, and then she liked it so much she kind of stayed, and then got to direct Frozen and stuff like that. So I'm very glad that Disney has a woman in this role now, because I think it'll affect positively the representation that we're going to see, because I think in regards to like Disney animation, we're like we're tiptoeing into the right direction, you know?
Yeah, I think also like Disney is really catching on that women are good at being in charge, because also
finally,
the Lucasfilm department at Disneyland, like the Star Wars ones, is ran by a woman. It's Kathleen Kennedy, and so she's in charge of all the new projects. I think she did the most recent trilogy, I believe.
Is that why men hated it?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Love that.
Does that make sense?
I did not know that either. Yeah, it makes sense now because they put a way more focus on women in the new trilogy.
Clicking.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wow. She knows what she's doing, and I feel like a lot of Star Wars fanboys hate her because, well, honestly, for no reason, because they just don't like seeing female characters. I remember one time this kid in my class, when it was like the original trilogy was coming out, he was like, well, now we need another Star Wars movie with a guy. And I was like, why? He's like, because all these ones have been women, because it was like right after Rogue One came out.
Have you seen
I'm
the
like,
last
six?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Got all this material.
Yeah.
And Marvel movies.
I've seen them since the dawn of Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? I think, I love the new female characters. And also, like, I think she really knows, like, what to do with this world.
I hate that fanboys totally wrecked Rose. Is that her name?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's so annoying. Star Wars fans are so annoying. I'm so sorry. Not to generalize, but you're annoying. Like, I am one. So, but I think I'm glad that Disney is like, women are in charge.
Mm-hmm. Which is, again, like the first thing that we talked about was that women need to be in charge in order to have this gender diversity.
Yeah.
And also, like, I feel like a lot of times, like, women are more likely to take chances on interesting and like different stories.
Yeah.
Dare I say. So I think I just wanted to like highlight Jennifer Lee for that, because I think that's a huge accomplishment.
I'm a fan of her. I like her.
Yeah, I really, especially because she gave us Frozen and Frozen 2. Like, I love that there's like an underlying story, like romantic storyline within that, but at the core, it's about family and sister love, which is something that we literally had never seen before then. So, shout out Jennifer Lee.
After what, I'm so glad that Disney has started taking a turn on movies away from the romantic storylines, because it was getting tired. So I feel like with this new generation, they've realized that, and so it's definitely reeling everybody into their movies.
Yeah, I like it. Oh my God! Wait, really quick. Yeah, I think really quick side note. It's about Disney. But did you see that article that came out where it was this guy and he was saying it was an article about how Disney was becoming too woke, and that he can't even enjoy going to Disneyland anymore because like he gets on Pirates of the Caribbean and he sees that the ride got woke because they took out like the prostitution scene, and that like he doesn't want to go to like Splash Mountain because now it's like print. I'll send you the article, but I was like, what are you? What's
his career? What does he do? Like,
I literally have no idea.
Wow.
I think he just
he's relevant.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Don't even know who. I just think it's so interesting that like male are so upset.
I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's a study. I need to look into it because now I'm like, my head is like reeling about it. But like, men really try to uphold tradition, but I also think it's because tradition is rooted in patriarchy. Yeah. So whenever they feel like and I feel like this is just an overall theme of men. Yeah. They really like being in dominating positions, and when they aren't, they scramble and they literally go for the lowest things to tear other people down. Onto it, whether that be in the aspects of the film industry, giving women lower budgets or telling them, no, you can't make a story about that because you're a woman, and like no one's gonna listen to a woman about that. Like I know that statement has been said to females in the entertainment industry. And I mean it's just
So when I was 16, I went to this film camp, and I was in this group. We're all placed in groups.
I'm scared too.
Oh Lord! So I got accepted to the film camp, an arts camp. I got accepted to the film department, and so of course, majority of the film department was male, and so we were all placed into groups for our final film project, and I was placed into a group of all males, and it was all white males. So I was like, this is how it is in the industry.
Yeah.
So I was like curious to see how my interactions were going to go with my group. And albeit one of my group members, he was really, or a couple of them were really awesome. I really liked them. But for the majority, like a couple of the members were just trying to like throw my voice in the back. Like I came with this awesome list of films that we should try to do for the project, and they were like, I don't know. And then I was trying to give them some genres and kind of work off their films too. And I just felt like my voice kept getting muted. And so 100%. Finally, one of the film assistants, she was a student at that college. She came over and she was like, I like Naja's films. Naja's got the best idea here. So why don't you go with her?
I love that.
And then they were trying to, of course, make the character in the film a male too.
Oh my God.
So she was like, why is Naja not playing the lead role in this film project that you're doing? So I carried that project. Let me not in case they watch this. My group did a great job, but it just goes to show like it starts from an early age. So
100%.
That was such a bad taste in my mouth, like just to say like this is what I'm going to be dealing with going into the film industry. So as a woman, you have to have extremely tough skin, and if somebody, just because someone's going to disrespect you, you can't take it to heart. It has nothing to do.
Exactly. You just have to prove them wrong and like just keep persevering, as like agonizing as can be. But like I feel like what you said, like I feel like almost every single woman that goes into the film industry has that interaction. I've had that interaction where I'm like, because you're confident in your ideas when you go in. You're like, oh shit, like look, you went off with this idea. Like let's pitch it to them, and you pitch it to them, and then when everybody shoots it down automatically, and you're like sitting there like, was it really that bad of an idea? But then you look around at the people in the room, and you're like, no, it's just because they're all men and they don't care about what I have to say. And sometimes that reality sucks, and sometimes it feels like really daunting and feels like you get a really big sense of imposter syndrome. But if you are listening and like you're a woman wanting to go into the industry, like just know that there's so many people out there that are rooting for you and want you to succeed. And I feel like where we're progressing in the industry, there's so much room for us to be heard finally. Yeah. So that, and I think that is a perfect segue to talk about Ava DuVernay, who is a really awesome champion of this. And I want you to start with like, if you want to start, because I know you wanted to talk.
Yeah, literally, I'm so mad because I left it in the hallway. I was about to bring out my Ava DuVernay pop figure.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh man, I left it like across the hall. I'm so mad. I have this Ava DuVernay pop figure, and she's in the box. She's never coming out. That's how big of a fan I am. But I love Ava DuVernay. I can honestly just say like, man, she's been such a huge inspiration for me ever since she came out with her, what was her big film that she directed when she directed Selma?
A Wrinkle in Time?
What? No, Selma.
Oh, Selma. Okay.
Oh, Selma.
And my dad was always telling me about her as she was up and coming before. And so I don't know. She's amazing. I'm speechless. If I meet her, I'm speechless.
Honestly, I feel like you'll get to work with her at some point. Like,
100%.
Ava, if you're listening, but it is.
Stop, because I'm so having a fangirl moment because you know the app Clubhouse?
Yes.
She's always on there.
I was in this room and she stepped into the room and I was trying to get on the stage so bad. I was like, I got questions for you, girl. But I didn't get on the stage. But it was just so nice to listen to the advice and for her to share her experiences with all these for free, all these up and coming filmmakers. And one thing I've always admired about her is that she didn't even pick up a camera, I think, don't quote me on this, I think until she was 35. And that's how, and she was like, I want to be a director. And look at her now. She's doing amazing things. So that just goes to show it's never too late.
Yeah.
Ava DuVernay is a Virgo, and I feel like that is very prevalent into what she like does. And like look at like her biggest things is about justice and like making people feel heard, and I think that's awesome. And I think it's also awesome that not only does she use her platform to raise up these stories, I think it's awesome that she tries to make personal connections with people that have been affected by these stories, and actually hears out the people that it's affected and translates that into the source material, which I feel like a lot of times when we do get things like a biopic about Martin Luther King or any Black historical figure, especially, a lot of times it's written by white people or directed by a white person, and they don't do their due diligence at all to try to be respectful to the person that they're making a movie about, which I think is like so crazy. It's just so insane to me that people don't try to actually find the truth, because I feel like that should be your goal, especially when you're talking about a historical figure.
That should be step one. Like, how did this get mixed up in the process?
Especially if you're going to, as they always do, make the whole production crew white people. And like nothing is accurate at all.
Exactly. And I think, like Ava DuVernay is such an inspiring filmmaker in general, because she's able to do this, and also she champions herself while also empowering other people at the same time. And I think that's just a very admirable thing to do. And like when you were talking about your production company in our intro and saying that you want to like uplift other creators, like I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do too. Like, I think when you find your own success in the film industry, it's so important for you to uplift others so you can champion other people that look like you, so we are able to see what stories we like
should be seeing,
like we live on a day-to-day also, and should be seeing like on the big screen. So
I really like that Ava DuVernay. For one, she's incredible at what she does. But I also really like, because I saw a couple, I don't remember when this started, but because I follow her on social media and she posted about it because they were like taking interns, I believe. But she launched an independent distribution company called Array. I don't know if I said that right. But it's basically like it's focused on films by people of color and women, which I'm like, that's so like, I love when people use their platform and their power to help more people like get up on the stage with them. I think it's so admirable. And I think
I think that at the end of the day, that's what comes to you, and I think that's where the film industry needs to go, because I feel like the film industry as a whole is very just one set minded, and you can only, it feels very cliquey in a way.
That makes sense. It's like very closed off, and so you have
secretive, and like nepotism is like rampant in it, you know what I mean? Like,
you have to know where the doors are to get in.
Exactly. And that's why we're not seeing, I really do believe that's why we're seeing like the same shit on the screen like all the fucking time. Like, how many more movies about white people do we need to see?
And then on top of that, like, just with like people just knowing someone so immediately they get their film, some of it is hot trash, and I'm like, why did this even produce? And then there's like a famous person in it, and I'm like, they definitely knew someone within the industry.
Crazy.
I have no idea. That's
what I'm saying. I'm like, it's just so weird how the industry works around. So that's why I'm glad we're starting to see people like Ava DuVernay use their power for good. Which is crazy that it hasn't happened before now. But I'm glad somebody had to do it.
Yeah, we love her.
And she does it with grace.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And the next person we're going to talk about is Issa Rae. She is very dominant in the television world.
Yeah. Listen, now I'm going off again.
No, as you should be.
They're literally my two favorite like producer director women. And so for Issa Rae, I've been following like her work for a long time. I've been following her work since I was like 12. So I've been there for all of it. And that was when she created her web series, Awkward Black Girl. And I was like, this is hilarious. This is relatable. This is me. And then from there, she was able to, go ahead and be a producer, director, and actor for HBO's like what they're Insecure, the Black Lady sketch show, and I'm definitely missing something, but I know she's creating another show about like 2 rapper girls.
I don't know what the title is though.
Yeah, I forget what the title is, but I know that she's working on it right now. But yeah, she's just been such an inspiration, and her story is like the craziest story because she really went the untraditional route to get to the top place that everybody wants, and is making like 8 figures. It was crazy because I know what I was like looking at this interview, and she had tried to go the traditional route, she said, and she was taking her shows and pitching it to all these networks, and either the networks weren't doing things that she thought that they should be doing with the show, or they just didn't believe in the idea. So she was just like, I'm going to create my own. So she created her web series, and then shows were coming to her asking for her if they could buy Awkward Black Girl, but she ended up creating a new show for HBO. So she's absolutely amazing, and I'm a big fan of like all the Issa Rae productions that she has.
She doesn't miss. Like she really truly does not miss ever. And I think I'm really excited to see her, especially go into like, I love her TV shows, and I'm excited to see her expand beyond television and see like kind of like her empire grow, because I think she's one of the people that really do deserve it and does it so beautifully. Like she's not even trying. It's just like her. Exactly.
She could write something on a napkin and it's like,
and that's so
Oscar.
Refreshing to see somebody literally be so true to themselves and be successful in the industry. And I think, especially because she didn't do the traditional route, I think that's also really encouraging. And I feel like, especially because you can upload anything to YouTube and Vimeo nowadays, like it's encouraging to know that somebody who deserved it got to do what they wanted to do and succeeded so much.
I also really like that, like, what the work she's putting out there is just like so positive and like joyful, because like I think a lot of times, I don't know,
well, also like touching on like important stuff.
Like, but in a way that's not harmful to the people watching it.
A dramedy.
Period.
A dramedy.
Yeah, no, really. Because I feel like in this day and age, a lot of the Black films that are being produced are about like Black trauma, and it's so tiring. And I'm like, there's more to Black people than just the traumatizing experiences that we are facing. We're people. So I'm excited for this new wave of Black directors, Black women directors and producers that are showing all these different genres and just experiences that we go through. So I'm really excited. And she's honestly like inspired me to do my own web series. And I had started working on it when I was 19, and then I took a break. And then I'm working on it now again. So we'll see. Look out for Ennis for Naja, my web series. And also, if Issa Rae, if you're listening, please mentor me. I'm begging.
Oh my God, Issa Rae. Hi, Issa Rae.
Issa Rae or Ava DuVernay, please. I'm begging.
I feel like both of them are always like on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, they're like always on the lookout.
I feel like that's a good way to like do it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm going to take this clip from the show. And
we'll send it to you.
Right, thank you.
Okay, we'll post it on TikTok. We'll be like, hi.
Yeah, we co-sign. We're co-signing. Even though like our co-sign doesn't matter, we're co-signing.
No,
totally matters.
I also really quickly wanted to plug Naja Davis-Drew, because I know you mentioned like Black female filmmakers, and she, you also mentioned like how a lot of films are sort of portraying Black trauma, and I think that's like a thing that's happening a lot in the horror genre. And so I think Naja Davis-Drew, her new Candyman movie is coming out, and then on top of that, she's doing Captain Marvel 2. And I haven't really seen anything that she's done yet, but I'm very excited to see what she does. I just think it's because you don't get a Candyman movie and a Captain Marvel movie, like a Marvel movie, if you're not good. So
no, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's so true.
I can't wait to see Candyman, and I think Ava DuVernay is going to be directing a new Marvel movie as well. So
Yeah,
Wow.
I think she was supposed to do New Gods for DC, but DC, I don't know what's going on with them, but they like canceled it. But I don't think she's not getting it. I think they're just like rerouting what they're doing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later. You put this on here.
No, I didn't.
You put American Psycho. I wouldn't.
Did I really?
Yeah, I wouldn't put American Psycho on. Do you want to skip it?
Did I put it on the outline, or did I put it on that?
Yeah, you put it on the...
Oh, I just wanted to mention this. We can do this really quickly.
Okay.
Because I really admired that like this story, because like when
Mary Harron.
Yeah, Mary Harron. So we didn't even say her name. I think when you first like if you look at the poster for American Psycho, you're like, oh, this movie is for men at first. But then when you really watch it, it's really about like toxic like male masculinity and their fragile egos and like how dangerous men can be. They
did the bait and switch on everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's why I didn't watch it.
I was shook. I was shook. And so, I don't know. That's all I'll say about that one. But I do think
because American Psycho is about Norman Bates, right?
No, that's Psycho. American Psycho is about this guy that like, he's like, I don't know what his job is. He's like a high-end, like
something for like, I don't know, corporate or something.
Yeah, something corporate. And he's actually a killer. And so I think the part where I was like, oh my God, there's no way this is directed by a man. Where it was when there's this one part where they're like comparing business cards and like they're like so boring. Like they're all like just white. And he like freaks out about like a little like business card because like of the font it used. And he like gets so upset. And I was like, a woman made this. There's no, because like there's no way a man would just be like, oh yeah, men get upset over anything. And I was like, no,
they kind of do though.
No, but I'm saying like there's no way a man would put that in a movie.
But like that I feel like has happened. Like
100%.
Yeah.
That was not satirical.
I'll have to watch it then.
Yeah, it is worth a watch.
Just like quickly before we skip over it, I thought it was just interesting because just watching it, you think like, oh, this is fake. Like it's just an imaginary world. There's no way he's just out here just shooting up.
Yeah.
Like he would be in jail. But then I had watched an interview with her. I watched an interview of her and the author. And they wanted it to be ambiguous because, he's in this like corporate world. Everybody's the same. Everybody looks the same. You can't differentiate anybody. So it just really makes you think. And then I know it's like, he has a hard time and then you have a hard time distinguishing reality and
ooh, I love movies like that.
Reality and what's the other word?
Like
fantasy.
Fantasy,
like,
yeah. So you're like, okay, he's doing this to this people. Is it as extreme as it seems to be? And I think that it actually is because they said they wanted it to be so ambiguous, but yeah, it's just really interesting. I'm gonna have to watch the movie more in depth.
Yeah. Because I only saw it once a long time ago, and like I just remembered being like, interesting.
See, I thought it was like a modern take on Psycho.
That's that's literally why I watched it, because I thought it was like a remake or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It is not.
Oh, I'll have to watch it then.
Yeah.
I did not know it was directed by a woman.
Yeah.
The only thing though, I know if I'm right, I know the author, the director, Mary, excuse me, she was like not too happy, correct me if I'm wrong, that like people were thinking that it was like coming as like off as fake, like it was all in his completely in his head. And then I think the author said something like that's why he doesn't believe this book should have, because I think it's based off a book.
It is, yeah.
Okay, doesn't think it should have been a movie because with films, everybody, well, at least American films, I think everybody needs a definite ending versus with like a film in Europe, people are fine with the way the movie ends. It ended like that, cool. But in America, we need a definite.
I do think that's so weird that in American films that's a thing, and like that's why a lot of times when a film doesn't have a definite ending, it gets like ripped to shreds. Yeah. But it's like, why do you need it to be spelled out for you?
Answer for everything. So yeah, American films just want an answer.
Yeah.
I think I've become content. Like the more I've started watching European film, and I've been like in Asian films, I've been like, okay, it ended like this. I'm fine with that. And so I always encourage filmmakers, don't just watch American films.
Yeah.
Watch the whole
watch everywhere.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like you were saying, like sometimes there is no answer that's going to be satisfying, and sometimes no answer is what's going to be satisfying, because there's no way that you're like, there's no satisfying ending that you could have other than not knowing. So
yeah.
You're being impressed with the things I'm saying today.
I know. Like for once,
maybe we just have to do a podcast always at 10 a.m. Maybe that's when my brain is on.
Maybe, I don't know. This is like completely switching gears, but Olivia Wilde for Booksmart. I just want to put this on here because I did like a poll on like my story and like asked people who their favorite female director is, like their movie, and then people were like, I know this is basic. Like everybody kind of like started like, I know this is basic, but like Booksmart by Olivia Wilde. And I hate that like we have to feel like it's basic, even though it's such a genuine story about two friends. I think that also shows like how if anything is like female led or female dominated or a lot of women like it, it's automatically not cool or basic or like stupid because it's about women and it's for women. Like while we've had all of these, imagine that I'm like pointing to every like other film and it's like we have all this for men.
Yeah.
Oh, we have this tiny stack for women. Yeah. And like half of them are rom-coms.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I think that sucks that people have to feel basic or like silly for liking comedies and like things about women.
I've also noticed that like with a lot of these movies, they get big because they're good. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, well, it's overrated. I'm like, is it overrated or is it just good? Like,
it's just
sometimes
good.
If something is good, it's going to blow up as it should.
Exactly.
Like, that doesn't make it any less valuable of a story.
At all.
Like, all of these. Yeah.
Wasn't this like her directing debut too?
Yeah.
Props to her.
Yes. And I think like between her and Greta Gerwig, I think a lot of the reason why their directorial debuts were so good is because they started off as actors. Yeah. And I've heard that like the best directors have taken acting classes or have been actors before because they know what they're looking for in cues. And that's why I'm like, maybe I should sign up for an acting class. As much as like it's such a vulnerable ass position to be in, like I want to be the best director I could possibly be.
I completely agree that I think for my directing class we had to take, or for my what did I even just say? For my major, we had to take an acting class. And I was like, this is going to be a nightmare.
So good that they did that.
It was a nightmare. I hated it.
Yeah.
But I understood why. Like, it has to be done. I was miserable because, like, I absolutely cannot act. And the thought of it makes me want to throw up. But I understood because now I'm like, well, now I see how vulnerable people are being.
It's so
vulnerable.
Like,
you have to be careful. I think as a writer and, like, as a director, you have to be, like, very careful. Because, like, what you're writing and what you're making these people do, they're actually going to feel it. That's their job. And so you have to be very careful with what
that's a really good way to put it. You're right.
Yeah.
I always say like to be the best director and to be the best producer, you need to have experienced every role in production as possible. 100%. You need to have had experience with lighting, editing, writing, acting, all of that, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Because how are you going to put yourself in a position of power to work with a team of people, but you have no idea what's going on because you haven't experienced it yourself? And it allows you it allows you to respect them and to give them their own space for creativity because you've been there yourself. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna sign up for acting class. As much as like it dreads me and like I literally get I want to break out the hives thinking about it, but like I think it's true. Like it shows, and like you can start off with a bang, like with your directorial debut, if you're able to identify with all of these positions. And I so desperately want to be like, if I'm going to be a director, I want to be able to identify with anybody on the set. And I think that's like a great thing to like show is like, you have to be in every role, to have like empathy and compassion for everybody around you, which I feel like is like a really big thing a lot of big shot producers and big shot directors lacked, is empathy and compassion because you're just going on this ego trip, you know what I mean? And nobody's there to check you, because the people that are directly around you also have the huge big egos as well, because you're in the positions of power. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, I think, like, for example, like, because what you're talking about, I think the example that popped into my mind was Quentin Tarantino when he was it Kill Bill, I think, and he like almost killed like the actress Uma Thurman.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was like he like, okay, so there was like some kind of car stunt, I believe, and like he knew that something was like wrong with it and was gonna happen, and he didn't tell her to make the shot more realistic. He literally put her life in danger, and I always say this, I don't care how good you think your movie is, that is not worth someone's life. No, I don't care if you think it's the new coming of Christ, it's not worth anyone's life. No stunt double, no nothing. No, I don't care. Literally
sit down. Like a body double, like a sack of sand.
So like, I think when you said like literally just all these,
not a human being.
Yeah, I think these huge directors, a lot of them lack empathy.
You got me itching.
I know. No, literally thinking about it makes me want to itch, but anyways, back to Olivia Wilde. I like what we're saying. I think that's why it was so good. And also, it just seemed like the way that all the actors talked about being on set. Because when I watched this movie, I was like, I knew I was gonna like it before I watched it. I was like, I feel like this is just like my type of movie, and it absolutely is, and I have no shame in that. And when I finished watching it, I was like, okay, now time to watch every single interview they've ever done, which is literally, if I like something, I'm gonna watch every interview that is out there on it, and as I should. And I feel like as somebody who wants to go into the industry, if you really like something, you really fuck with something, watch it, like. The producers talk about it, watch the directors talk about it, watch the actors talk about their experiences on set. Like, as much as I love the cute little, like, surface level, like, truth or dare thing, interviews. Like, I'm gonna look on, like, Vanity Fair where they're having, like, the actors on actors and stuff like that, so I can really get a sense of what it's like to be in the industry and, like, the things beyond the superficial layer of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way, because I feel like also just overall, sometimes when you see people who come from nepotism or already successful actors in the industry getting like director spots and stuff, it can be kind of daunting as well. But I think it's, especially when it comes to like female directors and BIPOC directors, a lot of them are more open to making the industry less stigmatized and are more open to sharing information for free. Like we see with Ava DuVernay, like she doesn't have to be on fucking Clubhouse for hours a day talking to people for free. Like, like she really doesn't have to, and they don't have to go to these Vanity Fair things and talk about all the issues that they're going through, or like obstacles they've had to face, but they do it because they love what they do and they want to share that, which I feel like is such a great jump from where we were before. And that's why I like watching actors and directors and stuff like that. Like my favorite things to watch are when directors like break down a scene. Is that Vanity Fair?
It is Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair kills it with their content, and it seems like it's fun because you get to see them be like normal people, but it's also like you're gaining so much knowledge without even thinking about it.
Like the pen.
Yeah, the pen. God, I love those things. But that's why I like the Booksmart, because when the actors talk about their experience on set, and I'll for some reason a lot of the questions are talking about like because it is an ensemble cast, and that's why I love ensemble cast, talking about their experiences with each other and how the dynamic was on set. And I'm just like, I want my set to feel like that. Like that's what I learned from Olivia Wilde. I was like, if I take anything from watching all these things, is that I want my actors to have fun on set, because it really translates onto the film, especially when you're doing like a comedy movie. So I love Booksmart.
What's it called? Some of those scenes they kind of just like improvise, right? Yeah, okay.
And it's like, and because she's an actor, she's able to understand, like, to trust her actors to move, and like I feel like sometimes directors want to stick to what they wrote or whoever wrote so precisely, and sometimes it comes off stiff, you know what I mean? Because I feel like it's a rigid environment, and nobody likes to be like under rigid any circumstances, you know what I mean? like, especially when you're in a creative field, you want people to feel inspired on your set, you know what I mean? Because I feel like collaboration is huge on these sets, and I think that's why I love BIPOC directors and women directors, because they're more likely to allow that on a set.
Yeah.
Just from what I gather.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm right. Yeah. And that moves on to Lulu Wang, who had The Farewell. And I think I love this movie so much. I mean, because I'm half Asian and Lulu Wang is an Asian director, I feel like a lot of this story has to do with kind of, there's a lot of things with the storyline, but the one thing that I resonated with was how her parents immigrated to America, and like her kind of like having struggle talking about what she cares about versus what her parents care about, I guess, and that kind of generational divide, because like I go through that with my mom, and I mean my dad too, but it sometimes it's hard to hear. I don't think like they do it intentionally, by the way. Like, I think this is just how it is. Like, when my parents talk about what degrees I got, they don't talk about my film degree. They talk about my marketing degree, which like it hurts my feelings, but obviously because like I care about film a lot more than I care about marketing.
Yeah.
But it like in parallel to The Farewell, Awkwafina's character, she is like a writer, like, and she's like a creative type of person, whereas her parents like kind of feel like there's like, they don't openly talk about it, but there is like a sense of kind of disappointment on her parents' behalf, because it's like, well, her parents sacrificed like everything to come to America to give her this life, and she kind of feels like a fuck up in a way because she's not able to like break that cycle for her parents, which I feel like is a lot. I feel like that's a burden that a lot of first generation American children have. Yeah. That we don't really talk about.
No, I think also like what I really like about this movie is I love a family dynamic. I like literally everything I write is like at the root of it, it's about family. I don't know what that's about. I'll ask a therapist, but that's what I really like about this movie is that like it's just about family, and
it's so honest,
the good
too.
and bad parts of it.
Yeah. A24 kind of kills on producing
A24
films about families. They kind of kill
A24 has great films though, so that was no surprise.
Like how people like to hate on A24, but I'm like, look at all the slappers they put out though. Like they kind of kill it.
They really kill it. I think like how many of these are A24? A couple. Lady Bird is A24, right?
Lady Bird is A24. The Farewell is
The Farewell. Okay, maybe not that many.
Not that many on here. I tried to like not.
Oh, just kidding. I thought it was way more.
I tried to not suck their ass on that one.
Okay.
Like as much as I love A24, I get it.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's all I had to say about The Farewell.
Have you watched The Farewell?
So I did. I think that she did a really good job. It just makes you feel comfortable. And I think just her taking it from real life experience made it even more real, and you can relate with every one of the characters. And it was interesting, like you said, just to see that distinction between being growing up in America and then your family. Where's her family from? Was from China, right?
China.
Yeah. Just how different the traditions are now, and how she kind of battles with, you know, how they all battle with the family's decision: tell the grandma or don't tell the grandma.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think films like this are so important to show. I mean, the main character is an American, right? But her family comes from China, and there's a lot of like cultural disparity and cultural differences and how they want to deal with things, because she wants to tell her grandma, right? But her family's like, no, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to like see that happen, because I feel like that's so reflective of a lot of people today dealing with that. And I think that's why it's important to have younger directors as well to tell their stories, because like when you see something that you've gone through or somebody you know goes through, it helps you empathize with them more, and just helps overall accept other cultures, which is something that I feel like America in general has tried to like paint this picture that we're this amazing melting pot and blah 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 blah, but when in reality we're erasing people's cultures and that's why sometimes like when you're a first generation American, you have a hard time understanding where like your grandparents or your parents are coming from, because as much and like it's hard because like you're seeing it from their side because they wanted you to have the best life you possibly could, but at the expense of losing their own culture and kind of a piece of their identity.
It's
so
like
it's so hard.
It's like the ancestry.com thing. Like white people will do it all the time and they get this huge family tree, and then like people who came here, they'll be like maybe little pieces here and there, but it's essentially a mystery, like your culture and your backstory.
It's just validating. I just want to see more stories about other cultures and stuff like that, and like I think generational trauma between like parent and child. Like I was like, what's the word? Child, and just general
offspring.
Generational differences is just so interesting to me, and I think she did it so well. I don't know if that was like her main thing, but that's what I took away from it.
Same.
Was this your first film? I've never seen.
I think this is her. Yeah, I think so, because I remember the reason why this got picked up is because she told this story on like a podcast, and then all of a sudden all these producers were like ringing her up and being like, hey, can we get like the film rights to your story? And she was like, hold on. Hold on.
When I did research after, like, of course, and then it says like based on a real lie or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, this is true, because I'm like, how would someone think of a plot like this? I'm like, I'm not creative.
Literally.
But I loved how she was able to play off real life. You could tell. You could tell.
100%.
It was completely authentic.
Everything was so personal. And like, I really appreciate her, because I can imagine like literally probably overnight, all of a sudden she's getting all these calls for film rights on her own life. And like, that's a big decision to make. And I think ultimately she went with A24 because they were the ones that were giving her the most creative control. And I feel like that's huge, because especially when it's like kind of your big, I think this is her first film. I'm pretty sure this is
I looked it up. She had like other like but this is her first major film.
This is like her first big budget film, I guess, and like widely distributed film. And to go, especially with something that's so personal to you, I think sometimes when it's your first big film, you feel like you need to go with like the biggest distributor, the people that are going to give you the most money, but then that comes at a cost of like your literal own story being not your story at the end of the day. So I think ultimately that meant a lot more to her, that she was able to like kind of be more true to her source material, her own life, while taking like kind of a less cut of money, but like ultimately it doesn't matter. So I appreciate Lu Wang, and she made me the strongest margarita I've ever had in my life. I have like her tweet notifications on, and I remember her.
Oh, like you met her? She made you margarita.
Because she like tweeted. She was like, "What if I like was a bartender and like every time somebody bought a drink, they could like ask me a question?" And I saw that tweet, and I was like, "Yes." So I had like her notifications on, and I was like waiting for her to tweet about it, and she did. And I texted my friend Garrett, and I was like, we have to go. And I was writing an essay about the farewell at the time. So I was like, I have to go. And so it was such a long line, but it was so worth it. And the margarita was so strong. I had one margarita and I was like tipsy. Like I was on a good one. And
Where do you guys live in California?
I was in LA.
California ASAP. I'm missing out on these opportunities.
It's so fun. Like I'm okay with the struggle.
Lulu really said one question. Bye. I mean, that's why she made it so strong.
No, probably. And then Celine, I don't know how to say your last name.
Celine, I'm gonna try because I already butcher every other name on here, so I'm just gonna keep Celine Sciamma. Okay, that felt okay.
I
definitely don't think it's right, but I tried.
But that was. She directed Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a French film. French film really goes hard. To be honest, I hate being that film person, but like they really know how to make a fucking movie over there.
that person. French films go so hard.
Because one of my favorite films ever is Lion, which I feel like is a very basic like French film to like, but like it's so good. It's really
called Lion.
Lion. It means like hate. Lion. I'll text you the title, but it's so good. And I watched it in film 3, and I was like, whoa, French film. Yeah. Like I had like that moment where I'm like, whoa, which like if it deserves it, it deserves it. You know what I mean? And I think Portrait of a Lady on Fire is so special because it's a queer story set in the 1800s. And I just love a movie through the female gaze, which you kind of don't realize that majority of films are through the male gaze until you see one that like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, where you're like, you don't even see a man until like towards the end of the film. Yeah. It's so crazy. And like I was reading an interview with her, and the interviewer asked her about that. She was like, yeah, it was kind of like a jump scare of the patriarchy. And I was like, that is so fucking funny. Yeah, because it's kind of jarring because you don't really notice that a man's not there because you're so kind of like invested in these two people. And then when you see the man, you're like, whoa, get him out of here. We don't want him.
I love that.
Yeah. Dude, it's so good. And I just needed to put on there because also she kind of got like gypped out of a best director.
Everyone thought she was like gonna get like,
because I'm pretty sure the movie got nominated. Hold on.
Let's fact check that because I have no idea.
I feel like it did. If it didn't, that's a crime. Awards.
Abortion.
Yeah, there's an abortion scene.
No, but like people are Googling it.
Oh, well, because it was like, it's in the 1800s, so it's different.
Oh, Cannes. So it won Best Screenplay at Cannes, I think.
Oh my God, it wasn't even nominated at the Oscars at all? Hold the F on.
No, because then... No.
Oh my God. How did it win Best Screenplay at Cannes, but didn't get a nomination at all at the Oscars?
The Oscars are so... I will never understand. I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, because I watched Portrait of a Lady on Fire after, like, well after the Oscars.
Yeah, me too. I watched it on Hulu.
Yeah, so... Whoa.
Interesting.
I have a list of films that I need to watch.
That's homophobic. That's homophobic.
It is homophobic. Oscars hates the gays.
No.
I'm just kidding.
That's so bad. I mean, we've all called it.
I'm like, just kidding, Oscar. I'm sorry.
But I think, well, we kind of talked about it before, but who was it? Steven Spielberg told Greta Gerwig or something. I got this all from like a interview I read. And he told Greta Gerwig, if you're gonna shoot a film about the 1800s, you need to film it on film. And then Celine was like, no, I'm gonna do digital.
Period.
And I think it was kind of groundbreaking because I don't think anybody really has done that. And it's able to, because obviously when you're filming a movie on film, it's going to capture different lighting than if you do it on digital. And the way they lit the scenes was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And it was so dark at times, and everything. I think I love the movie because it felt so intimate.
Yeah.
And I love when movies are able to literally draw you into like these people's stories, and like to see a queer story in the 1800s, I feel like is also really huge. Yeah, I'm a big fan of her.
Yeah,
now we really stand, and I think this is huge with queer cinema, and I think there's not a lot of like positive portrayals of lesbian relationships in film. And she really went off on that one. And she's such an interesting person. She has such a great sense of humor. Yeah. Honestly, like she's really an interesting person. And I've only read like 2 articles in preparation for this.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how she talks. I've never heard her like speak. I've only read it. So like I'm very interested to get more into Celine over here. But yeah, I would recommend this because it really deserves the hype.
It does.
This is another. I feel like
I don't think any of these. I'm like, well, it's a little overrated. Literally, not a single one.
None of the things that we talk about. Yeah, none of the things we talked about are overrated to the point where you shouldn't watch them.
Yeah,
genuinely.
Watch everything. Yeah, like even the bad movies. Go watch them.
Yeah, because somebody's gonna find them good. You know what I mean? It's all subjective at the end of the day. And the last specific director we're gonna talk about is Chloé Zhao. huge for Nomadland.
Woo.
Yeah,
good for Chloe.
Good for Chloe. I'm very excited about it. And then
good for her.
And then her next movie is The Eternals, but we'll get to that because I put her purposely to talk about the last thing. But I didn't watch Nomadland until I think maybe the day before the Oscars or something like that. And it was just like, it was a very quiet film.
Yeah, so I watched it last night because Kim was like, okay, go watch Nomadland so we can talk about it. And I was like, okay. And so Kim was like, oh, I'm not exposing you. But she was like, you can like watch it while doing something else. And so I was like, okay, I'll do homework.
As soon as I sent that, I was like, no, you can't.
No, you can't. I didn't even finish my homework because I had my laptop and then like, I don't even think anything exciting was happening, but I was just like, I need to watch this.
I don't think anything like extraordinary happened on the screen, but that's the thing about that film is like, it's a very honest portrayal.
First of all, Frances McDormand? You literally like, she just like, you have to look at her. Like everything she does, like when she was dumping a pot on the ground in the snow, I was like, oh my God, amazing. Like she literally did the most like mundane things. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Oscar for you. But it's just such a good movie because I think, so I was looking into it and I thought it was so interesting because I was like, this feels like a documentary.
Right? Yeah, it does feel like a documentary.
And so I looked it up and so a lot of the people in that movie are playing themselves.
Yeah. I was thinking that too because I was like no shade to the actors, but I was like, this feels like a normal person.
Yeah, I was like,
this conversation, like, it feels like, because Frances McDormand is a great actress overall, obviously. And I was like watching her talk to these people, and I was like, I feel like this is like different. Like, it doesn't feel like an actor is talking to an actor. Yeah. It feels like they're just having like like what you said, it's like a documentary.
And when she's at Amazon, I was like, what's going on? Is this real? Like, is this a vlog? Like, what's going on? And it's just so good.
And also the filmmaking, because I feel like you move with the character sometimes. Sometimes the cinematography, like, it tilts a little bit. It's not like, it's like kind of like guerrilla. Like, somebody was holding that motherfucking camera. Like, just not even like on a steady cam. Someone was just holding that motherfucking camera.
Yeah.
And you can tell, but I think that's what makes you think it's like a documentary, and that's kind of what makes you fall into this world. And it's just interesting because you don't see a lot of people living like that, like a nomad. It was just like really interesting. And then they talk about death at the end, and I was like, whoa. Well, because I am terrified of dying, and I have spirals about it like all the time.
Me too.
All the time. It's such like a hard thing for me to grasp. But I think Nomadland kind of made me like feel like a little bit at peace with it.
Yes. Okay. Because I don't know where this came from. So like before, Kim would be like, "Aren't you scared of dying?" And I'd be like, "Literally, no. Like, who cares? Like, right? Like, it's gonna happen." And like, I don't know what happened during quarantine, but it was like full spirals. Like, I was like, I'm literally like, I need to see a doctor.
No, I need to see a psychiatrist.
Oh, me too. Well,
absolutely.
Oh my God, should we get a Groupon? And so like in this movie, the lady's like husband like passed away, and so I was like, oh, I know this is gonna get sad, because especially that one part at the beginning where it's like the 4th of July and she's eating in her little van, and like she has the little thing on and you hear the fireworks in the distance. I was like, oh my God, this is so depressing. Like, I feel it, and like, yes, it is sad, but then I was like, oh, it's like also like,
but she's also like choosing to live it. Like, she wants to live this way.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know what the word is to describe it.
Oh my God, and her friend who literally, like, I thought she was gonna die in front of us.
Well, I don't think we should spoil it because it's very fresh movie.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and she doesn't die.
Yeah.
Well, not
okay.
The friend. I don't want to do that.
Wait, oh my God, too much is happening.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Okay, everyone who's listening, if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then like come back and re-listen to what we said, and I feel like it'll make
skip
more sense.
ahead like a minute or two.
Yeah, but the Oscar was well deserved.
The Oscar was, especially out of all the Oscars that were, or the films that were nominated this year, I think it went to the movie, and the director went to the right person. And
it's so interesting because like, if you told me the idea for this, I'd be like, that sounds so boring.
Yeah.
And like, even if you like laid an outline out for me, I'd be like, that sounds so boring. But like, it's not boring.
No. I think it's a really honest portrayal of humanity, and I feel like sometimes it, again, like, I feel like a lot of people lack empathy and compassion for others, and especially when it comes to like, I mean, nomads are kind of like homeless but
she said houseless in the movie.
Houseless.
Yeah.
Like houseless people, I feel like there's like a stigma around them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of layers and a lot of different types of houseless people you're going to encounter. So it helps you have empathy for those people and compassion for them. You know what I mean? Because all of them came from like a different way and like of life. And it's interesting how, because a lot of times in the movie, you're going to meet different people along the way. You know what I mean? That's kind of the whole thing. I
love those kind of movies.
Yeah, it's so good. And
it's like a road trip movie, but like a completely different twist on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get to go home with her to like meet her family. It's just really interesting. And I really think
about doing a film on nomads.
Right?
Like, you wouldn't at all. So I think you should watch this, and it helps you really have compassion for other people. I think we really need those movies a lot more, like movies about different types of people that honestly are like, what's the word?
Like, we need an insight on how other people live.
Yeah, exactly. Because it helps us normalize it as well. Like
on untraditional, untraditional lives.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like that helps with like normalization of things and destigmatizing of things and overall compassion for people, which we need. And thank you, Chloé Zhao, for this one.
Speaking of Chloé Zhao, okay, so our last little subsection on this topic is women who are already directed or are going to direct superhero films, and why that matters. And the reason I said Chloé Zhao is because she is directing the new Eternals movie for Marvel, which is like it's like the first phase. Oh no, I guess Black Widow is like the first phase, whatever movie, but it's like a huge movie. The cast is huge. The first movie
of the fourth phase.
No, it's Black Widow.
I know, but you said first phase.
Wait, what did I say?
You said Black Widow is the first phase.
Movie? Oh no, that's
but it's the first movie of the fourth phase of Marvel. Dear God, it's so fucking confusing.
Yeah. But the reason we want to talk about this is because superhero movies are like huge right now. They're literally what is mainstream.
I think that's kind of like revitalized movie theaters. I feel like I've read that somewhere.
I literally told, because everyone was like, oh, like, I don't remember who said it. They were like, oh, superhero movies are like killing the film industry. I'm like, superhero movies
saved it.
They're literally what's going to keep AMC open.
Yeah.
So like
like the most in box offices.
Yeah. Like I had someone.
If you look at the top grossing movies, like the top
Avengers
10, it's basically all.
And it's like, okay, because I had someone in one. Okay, really quickly, this discussion post for one of my classes. It was like, what counts as art? Like, do these things count as art? And I was like, absolutely, because okay, like I know that they're sponsored by the military, and I know that it is propaganda to an extent, right? But little kids don't see that. A little kid is gonna see Black Panther, is gonna see a black superhero, and is gonna be like, I can be a superhero. A little girl is gonna see Wonder Woman.
That just made me think about Disneyland, because they have this picture of like a cartoon drawing of Chadwick Boseman, and then this little kid with the Black Panther mask on. I saw it. I didn't know it was there. Yeah. So when I went down to Disney, just like walk around, I saw it and I literally started crying.
It's really right at the entrance. It's like boom.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's like, here, you want to cry?
Yeah.
There.
Welcome to Disneyland. Cried. Yeah. But yeah, I just really think like, but someone was arguing with me. They were like, well, Marvel doesn't really count as real cinema. Like in a discussion post, I was like, relax. Number one, you already got your points. And so they were like, and they were like, well, I think it's up for debate because like, I was like, well, obviously it's up for debate, but their point was that like, because Marvel is so like strategic and they're like, it lacks the artistic viewpoint. That was what they said. And I was like, I get what you're trying to say, but I completely disagree with you because like, also we need these movies because families love them. Like a little girl and the little boy are not going to go watch The Farewell. They're not going to go watch.
Right. Every film doesn't have to be abstract.
Yeah.
Like it could do it like unintentionally.
Yeah.
Like.
And I think like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think it really like that's the most recent Marvel thing. Mm-hmm. I think it really shows that these movies, these characters, as fantastical as they are, they can tell real human stories that are like related to what people are experiencing. Yeah. Even like WandaVision, it was about grief. And I think like right now in a time of like this pandemic where like there's grief everywhere, this story like really connected. So like you can connect with this magical witch and you can connect with this guy that was like the next Captain America. And like, they're like super outlandish and like, sure, you can call it a cash grab, but it's still there's still stories. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my Marvel rant.
Oh, that was good though. Oh my God. You're killing it today.
Wild.
Sorry?
Sofia Coppola is directing a Marvel film.
Oh.
I think so too. Yeah, she's I put like a list. Okay, so the ones that we have so far is Patty Jenkins with the Wonder Woman movies. I love those movies.
Yeah.
Cathy Yan with Birds of Prey, Anna Boden with Captain Marvel, and then coming out is Kate Shortland with Black Widow and Chloé Zhao with the Eternals.
Wait, let's go through this list really quickly because I didn't know some of this. So Nia DaCosta, we already said, like, is directing the new Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel 2. S.J. Clarkson is directing Madame Web. I think that's a Sony, like, Spider-Man movie. Patty Jenkins is directing the third Wonder Woman. Michelle McLaurin is directing Cowboy Ninja Viking. No clue what that is.
This was just like on the Wikipedia page that was like comic book in general.
Oh, okay,
it wasn't like Marvel DC.
Lauren Montgomery, Spider-Woman. Olivia Wilde, Spider-Woman.
Well, that one of them's animated, and Olivia Wilde is
so Spider-Woman might be like into the Spider-Verse, but just girl Spider-Man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's like I think it's like the same world as the Miles Morales world.
I love
like
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
An unknown female director, Batgirl, and Supergirl, and Black Cat, and Silver Sable. So we're getting a lot of female...
I think it's interesting that's like unknown female director, but they know they're going to...
Yeah, they're like, well, a woman has to tell this story.
But my only...
It's called like Madame Web.
Yeah.
That's like a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
She's cool looking, but I was like, what is going... Like, she gets a movie?
The only thing is, like, as happy as I am that women are directing superhero films, why are they only directing ones about women?
Oh, period.
Like, why can't they be directing, like, Avengers?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I have a theory. I think either Chloé Zhao... I think she's directing...
Well, she's the only one that's
she's getting Eternals, but I think it's a test trial for the Avengers, the next Avengers. Ooh. I think she's going to end up directing the next Avengers.
I mean, yeah.
If she likes it.
I think the one Ava DuVernay is directing is about a male.
Yeah, so Ava DuVernay's was New Gods for DC. It was kind of the DC version of Eternals. Mm-hmm. It was like I
like how DC is always like trying to play catch up with Marvel.
Yeah. And it's sort of, it's the same. It's like these old gods and like the sort of it's whatever. I don't need to get into
it like Greek mythology kind
of? Kind of, because DC has a lot of that, but they canceled it because like after the Snyder Cut thing came out, DC was like scrambling to get their life together. So as of right now, it's canceled, but I don't think, I think
it's tabled indefinitely. Like they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, they canceled a bunch of movies, but I think they're rerouting. I still think Ava DuVernay is going to get a DC movie.
Probably.
But
why would they not?
Good point. More women directing, not just women characters, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think it matters because Marvel really did Captain Marvel dirty. Yeah. Like overall.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad. And it definitely did feel like they were just trying to we need a female superhero now.
For Endgame now.
Yeah, we need to throw it in there. And I really do believe that if Captain Marvel was in the first or second phase, she would not be as hated.
I agree.
By the fanboys.
You can say it.
Yeah, the Marvel fanboys.
I love watching TikToks about Captain Marvel.
I am a Captain Marvel TikTok.
Me too. Reason. I didn't even know that was a side. Yeah. But I love watching these because it shows
because I love Brie Larson. She's a Libra.
I love Brie Larson. I like this character. I the movie's not most groundbreaking Marvel movie ever, but it's still fun to watch.
Exactly.
I don't get why people. I don't know.
But I also I thought it was interesting because I saw a TikTok that was comparing Captain Marvel, all the quips that people had with it was well, she's so stuck up and she thinks so highly of herself because everybody had an issue when she met the Avenger first time. It was I'm gonna kill Thanos, and everyone was whoa,
yeah,
and, whoa, you can't do that. You just got here. But it's but then the TikTok after that had every single male superhero saying a line similar to what she said, and I was ooh, they're not gonna like that one. They're not gonna like Tony Stark's character. As much as I love Iron Man, he's one of my favorite Avengers. He is the worst when it comes to those type of lines. But that's the whole thing.
His character's so arrogant.
He's so arrogant, and that's literally his main character trait.
I don't even think
that's literally his personality, right?
Yeah, I don't think Captain Marvel I don't think she's like cocky. I think she's just like
she knows
that
alien, right?
Yeah, she knows that she's like strong.
Yeah.
Like she's like, well, I'm stronger than all these guys, so like, what am I? I'll kill him.
But she is. Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she was like, okay, I'll do it, guys. Like, I don't see the issue with this.
She's like, well, you guys have had like 3 phases of movies.
She's like, what are you gonna do with your bow and arrow? I have like superpowers. What are you gonna do? Oh what are you gonna do with your little shield? Like,
yeah. I think
they're gonna get mad at me for that one.
I think I'm glad that we're having this awakening in justice for Captain Marvel, because
I agree.
And she did not deserve the hate. Yeah. As much as I rewatched Captain Marvel and I was like, I still don't like love it, but I don't think it deserved like all the hate that it got. Like, I think it was just like, I think the reason I didn't like it as much as like other, like maybe like Wonder Woman or something, not to like pit those 2 movies against each other, I'm not, but I think it was just like at the fault of Marvel, like just trying to throw in like a female superhero. It wasn't like the fault of
like, I don't know if like one of you guys said earlier, she should have been brought in way before.
Yeah, but that just shows that like women are not on the forefront of these men's minds at all. The fact that Wonder Woman was the first female, like, well, in this modern age of like superhero films where it's like a universe building type of thing. It's like
once a month we get a superhero movie.
Exactly. That Wonder Woman came out in like what?
2016,
and that was the first one that we got. Yeah. And Patty Jenkins fucking killed it.
Yeah, she did.
She fucking killed that shit. And
the fanboys couldn't even be mad about that one because it's a good movie.
It's a really good movie, and I think it's important that like women are directing superhero films because it's important for little girls to feel empowered as well.
Yeah, but not only that, I think it's not just superhero movies. It comes down to movies in the mainstream. If you put female directors in mainstream areas, in positions of power where they're like not just small indie movies, they're doing huge Marvel blockbusters. It kind of sets the stage for everything else.
Yeah.
And it lets more female creatives come
and that's place. The thing with the Marvel movies, it's like that person in your class is like, it's not real art.
Should I send them this? I send the link to the podcast.
But it's like, in your opinion, it's not like real art, but it sets the stage so other people can have the quote unquote real art you're seeking. Because if a female-led movie succeeds on that high of a level as a Marvel movie, that kind of shows potentially to executives and stuff that people want to see female-led things and female-dominated things, you know? And it's stupid that we have to do that, but, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, I mean, I think we just need to see more women being put in positions of power and, like, trusting women to be in director spots, which we are definitely seeing. Like if we're seeing it on this Marvel level, I think it should trickle down to every level of the industry.
And I think all these women that we've talked about are really setting the stage because they're really proving they're like, well, we can do this and we can do it better than you. So exactly. I think it's like this is a great start, but I think we're going to get a lot more.
Sorry. No, I definitely agree. This is definitely like the time for women though. Yeah. So I'm excited to see all the other women directors that come out of this. This is definitely the time if you're a woman, you want to be a director. Hop on and make your own film. Just hop on the wave.
Do it on YouTube. That's what Issa Rae did. She's doing great.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like social media now. Like you literally never know who's gonna see what. So like, and it's free to put it up on anything like Instagram, YouTube. There are so many things at your disposal, and I mean, there's so many people that are getting recognition on social media because and especially if you're trying to do something kind of like different and off the beaten path as everyone else, like to show that, I guess, Hollywood, that there is an audience for whatever you want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as much as I was kind of getting depressed doing research because I was like, there's not a lot of women to talk about, but I think what you said, like there's going to be so much room for women in the future, and especially in the near future. And I'm excited to see people that look like us.
You guys.
And us as well.
I just hope people don't go into this with like the crab in the barrel mentality, like that 100%. They have to be up top to make it work, because I know it's generic to say, but there really is room for all of us. So
it's so true though. Like, we do not need to like be in competition with everybody. I think it's a community thing, and I think that's the way that we're all going to be able to succeed is when we all have a community. We look at it as a community effort rather than like a singular race. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I'm excited, and I feel like a lot of people that are coming up in the industry have that mindset. So I'm really excited to see the gears start shifting, because we already have. And I'm excited to see more female directors. And I'm excited to see what you do. I'm excited to see what I do. Yeah. Like, we're all going to succeed, and it's going to be fucking great.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on. Do you want to plug where can people find you? Where can they find your work? Anything that's already out or in the future?
Yeah. So, again, my name is Naja. So you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, which I'm going to start being more active on, I promise. My Instagram is Naja Amiel. NAJAAM as in Mary, IEL. And then you can also check out my YouTube, which I'm going to be uploading more of my films on, at, again, Naja Amiel. And I have a podcast of myself that I'm producing coming out this fall after we film this summer. I can't say too much about the name now because we're going through the copyright process and the trademark process. But if you follow me on my Instagram, you can stay updated with all of that information to see what else I have in the works. And then lastly, look out for my web series, and it's for Naja, that I will be creating.
That's so exciting. And like all of this information will be on our Instagram, so you can definitely find all that information on there for a more accessible way. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you. It was so nice meeting you.
Oh my God, you're our last guest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh yay! I feel special. I can't wait to post this.
Yeah, so our next episode is our last one of season 2. So that's fun.
Yeah, have fun.
But yeah, thank you everyone so much for listening. Stay safe.